This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neese with the Raw Life Health Show, and we have a special guest with us. One of my favorite guests here on the Raw Life Health Show. It's our friend John Kohler. Now John has several other channels on YouTube. He has one called Growing Your Greens. He has another one called OK Raw, and another one Discount Juicers. I definitely recommend you check out John's other sites. And you know, he's here today and he's going to talk about something I teach here on the Raw Life Health Show, and it's about, you know, when you're traveling, you want to get good food, and one of the questions I get all the time is, how do we eat when we travel, or how do we find good food? Well, John has created a wonderful little system because he travels a lot and he eats healthy, and he doesn't make excuses not to eat unhealthy food. But it does take some time and research. And what he does is he's going to explain how he researches and finds places before he gets there. So when he gets there, you know, he just has to go pick up the food pretty much. And it just takes a little research. But, you know, John will tell you, but I don't know if he's found any place yet where he wasn't able to get anything. I think every place he's been, he was always able to get something. And John also grows a big garden at home. So he's used to eating right out of his garden at home, which is great, and we recommend that. But when you're traveling, how do you do it? And John's not just the casual once-a-year traveler. John travels pretty much more than he's home. And so he's really perfected this system, and I think it'll help a lot of you. And so here he is right now.
All right, Paul. Well, thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for letting me stay at your place here. I mean, if people come to visit you on the retreat that you're going to have, I know they're going to have a fabulous time, just like I am. In any case, what I'm going to share with you guys today is how to stay raw and actually get the best deals and the highest quality produce when you travel. Basically, sometimes me and Paul get like in a controversy of like, who's more frugal? You know, so like I'm really frugal and we'll get good deals, but also what's really important to me, actually even over being frugal, is actually getting the highest quality produce possible. So that's a double challenge, getting the highest quality produce possible at the lowest possible price. So Paul may sometimes buy non-organic stuff. I usually don't do that unless there's nothing else to eat, because remember, when you travel, you know, it's not like I'm at home and I have my front yard garden where I can harvest a lot of my own vegetables. You know, I'm literally at the mercy of somebody else when I travel. So when I travel, I try to look at places and go to places that's going to have food available. So luckily, when I come to South Florida and visit Paul, he has a nice garden, and I've been eating some collard greens out of his garden. So that's tip number one. Visit a friend or somewhere that has a garden that you can eat from. So coming down to his retreat would be excellent, because he actually has star fruits and all kinds of other things that you can be eating. I had some ackee off his tree. I mean, that fruit is simply amazing. And I mean, I don't even know where you could buy ackee unless you know somebody with a tree. So that's tip number one. Go somewhere where you have a friend that has a garden growing already. Tip number two, do research before you even leave your place. So I get online, let my fingers do the walking. I search on Google for farmers markets West Palm Beach, or farmers markets Austin, or whatever the location you're going. Just do a Google search for farmers markets, and those will be your primary places that you should source your food from. Aside from farmers markets, that's just one trick up my sleeve. The next website I go to is localharvest.org. So localharvest.org is a website where farmers go to sell their products. Many of them may ship products and actually seeds and things to you, but also many of them will let you go to their farm and buy the produce directly. So actually, what I got directly was this, man, and they don't get any better than this. Look at the coloring on this papaya. I picked this very papaya myself, and the amazing deal is this thing was $1, as many as I could pick for $1 each. So if you actually want to see a video on that, it's on my Growing Your Greens channel, or maybe posted soon on my Growing Your Greens channel. But anyways, I visited that farm to get this papaya, and $1 each. That's definitely a good deal, and I picked it fresh. So once again, I want to remind everybody, the freshest foods that you pick as fresh off the plant as possible is when you want to eat them for the most nutrition. Once again, even if you are traveling and eating at Whole Foods or the grocery store, you know, they've picked that stuff a week, 2 weeks, and in some cases like apples are in cold storage for months before you get them. So the freshness and the quality is not quite there. In addition, on this trip, I went to the Whole Foods, and actually I didn't even spend a penny in Whole Foods. I'm like, no, I'm going to get a better quality food, because the stuff at Whole Foods, besides being expensive, is, in my opinion, not as fresh as if you buy it from the farmer yourself, or even better yet, pick it yourself. So besides localharvest.org, another trick up my sleeve is Craigslist. Yes, I said it, Craigslist. So you might be thinking, hey John, that's like the ghetto of food, Craigslist. Well, hey, I go to Craigslist in the farm and garden section and do a few searches. Sometimes I'll search vegetables. Sometimes I'll search fruits. Sometimes I'll search farms. Sometimes I'll search you-pick. And you're going to find some things that come up. And so one of the things I found this trip was a farm that is growing these guys. And oh my gosh, once again, this is another fruit you're not going to get unless you come to Florida. These guys are called canistelle or egg fruit. They're absolutely so delicious and also nutritious. They're like nice, rich, kind of fatty. And actually, Paul gave me a really good tip. He said, eat it with some lime. So I ate this with a lime. It was out of this sight. So actually look on my channel,okraw.com, where I'm actually going to have a recipe with that real soon with actually these very canistelles that are quite ripe. Another thing I went to is I went to a farm, a you-pick farm that I found on the internet, and I picked these tomatoes. Now these tomatoes they cost me $1 a pound you-pick, and I picked them as ripe as I wanted them. I went around and picked the ripest one. So you-pick tomatoes, once again, found this through the internet. In addition, you can go to certain stores, and Paul knows a lot of the stores in this area, and one of the stores that he told me to go to is this produce stand that had these guys, and you may know or not know what these guys are. You're like, John, they look kind of like potatoes. Well, these are not potatoes, people. These are called sapodillos, also called níspero or brown sugar fruit, also called chico zapotes. There's so many different words for all these different fruits. But man, these guys are not quite ripe. They need to be soft. And you know, if I was in a store, I wouldn't normally know what these are unless I had them or been to the tropics before. I knew what these were, and actually these were only $1.50 a pound. Actually in California, I paid $5 a pound for these guys. So $1.50 a pound is an amazing deal. But once again, although these are at a produce market, these were from a local grower, and that's why they're so cheap. So go to places that sell local produce. In addition, at that same produce market, I got the young coconuts. Now, not the ones from Thailand. Those are like... or the ones from Mexico that I normally get in California. I got real coconuts harvested off the trees here in South Florida. Nothing tastes better than fresh coconuts. I don't care it will be in a packaged bottle or jar. No, you want to eat freshest quality foods possible. And these fresh young coconuts are just literally in the husk. And Paul has a chopping block where you could chop them open and drink fresh coconut out of the husk. Oh, it's so delicious. And those are only 99 cents each. I mean, you can't even get the Thai or Mexican ones that cheap. And these ones are so fresh. So there's definitely resources in the area that Paul will turn you on to so you could eat healthy and for good prices in South Florida. The other thing I did today is actually I went to the farmer's market, and I found another you-pick store, or a you-pick farm actually, and at the farmer's market I bought some stuff, but also learned they have a farm that you could visit and pick your own stuff. And actually they said if you pick it at the farm, it's actually cheaper than buying it, because one of the biggest things at farms is the labor. The labor costs them a lot of money. So if you pick it, you're doing the labor, they're just growing it. So they could charge you less money. And oftentimes if you buy in bulk, which is another tip, I bought in bulk. They had little packets for $5. I said, hey, how much have I bought? The whole half flat of organic strawberries. And they already had picked them. But this whole half flat is like 10 bucks. And these strawberries, they taste amazing. So I always strive to eat local and fresh harvested, fresh picked foods whenever possible, because literally you are what you eat and absorb. And if you're eating, you know, stuff that's not high quality, well, maybe you won't be high quality either. So besides these strawberries that I found the stand for at the farmer's market today, I also got these peppers. Man, this is a really good deal. These guys, they're not certified organic. They grow hydroponically and with organic practices. This guy is huge. I mean, it's almost the size of my head. $1.50 for this thing. Man, and that's going to be so good. And in a future episode, I'll probably be visiting their farm and showing that to you guys too. I don't know what channel that's going to show up on my YouTube. And the last tip that I want to give you guys is when you do travel, you know, I don't often take fresh foods with me. They will always get crushed in my backpack or in my luggage or whatever. So right before I get to the airport, I load up. So actually before this trip, I had 3 pounds of organic blueberries. And I was just sitting in the airport and eating 3 pounds of organic blueberries. Now, I would have liked to chew them a little bit more because I was running late, but I did find that I could eat 1.5 pounds of blueberries and still chew them fairly well in about 7 minutes. So it took me about 15 minutes to down 3 pounds of organic blueberries. But so load up before your flight. Sometimes I'll drink green smoothies or juices before my flight to get a lot of liquids in me. But I will travel with dried fruit sometimes, and actually just got these from another farmer's market in California. And actually I bought $100 worth at this farmer's market, and these are very special fruits. Actually, this was my gift to Paul. Maybe if you come down soon, you might even get to try a few. These ones are called jujubes, or jujubes, also called Chinese dates. And you've never had a good Chinese date until you've had one of these. If you get them when they're really good, they almost have like a nice bread-like dough consistency, and they're sweet too. Ah, they're so delicious. So yeah, travel with some dried fruit so you don't, eat the airplane food, and make sure you stay hydrated on the plane. So hopefully with some of those tips, you'll now be able to get some good deals when you travel, but also eat the highest quality food. So to review, number 1, go visit a friend that has a garden that you could pick food from. Number 2, check the internet. The internet is your friend. Do your research. Find farmers markets and other farms in the area that you can visit and do U-Pick from. Actually, there's another good website. It's like a U-Pick website that tells all the U-Pick places in the country pretty much. Another one is localharvest.org, and also don't forget about Craigslist. And then also find people in the local area. So another thing I do is search out meetup groups. So I'll search up meetup groups in the area for raw foods, and I'll go to those meetup groups to meet other people and hey, talk to them, ask them where they get the highest quality food when they're in town, and maybe they'll even have a garden too.
All right, everybody, there he was. That was John. Definitely contact him at his website and email him and check out his channels on YouTube. If you have any questions, he really knows his stuff, and I'm so glad he was on the show, joining us here at a wonderful retreat in South Florida. Now, all the things that John had found here in South Florida, you can experience too when you come on down here and join us here for a wonderful retreat. If you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. Until then, everybody, have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.